Okay, then I want us to revisit this uh, question of Nigerian new friends who want to get legalized in Nigeria. So, you asked what purpose will a legal permit serve in view of maybe the finances involved to do the paperwork. Well, I acknowledge your proposal for new friends to seek maybe membership in groups that support our causes and try to work from within them. However, we still need, and we urgently to our own space that is not dependent on others. I think it will be great for whichever group, organization, or university department or school to know that they are cooperating with a group that has legal authorization to function in Nigeria, since everywhere now is the authoritarians, they want you must be legal. Even if you're giving them water to drink for free, you must be legal. So if you compare the cost of doing this in Nigeria, doing the paperwork with that of the Democratic Republic of Congo, you realize that it is peanuts compared with the thousands of dollars for the same document in Nigeria. In Nigeria, it's actually less than $1,000. So I think we would love to see more photos of activities from Nigeria, just as we get from the Congo. And then the majority of Africans prefer to get together, even if it is not to pool financial resources, but to come together. So you will find that the new presentation, our WWE activities are mostly virtual, in the opinion of most African new friends. And this is in stark contrast to their innate nature to always come together. So the Nigerians have decided to carry out this mission of getting the wonderful worldwide educators a legal status in Nigeria, while looking for creative ways to join groups that also share our causes. But last week, Duane, you seemed to insinuate that it was an exercise in futility. So the question one may ask is, has the Congo really wasted time and money? Duane?
That's not exactly it, but the idea is that I know of from you and others that are there many times these people are struggling, so I would just look for alternatives to kind of get people together until they can afford it and sustain it, because you make the initial cost. It's like Miriam over there, she has the funds to sustain herself. Miriam does very well, and she even rented a place, if that makes sense, to spend the money on that. But again, I don't know the situations, but no, I don't see it as futile anything. It's just being creative in what makes sense, just to spend the money to get the agreement, but there are other ways to do things. But again, you know best. The bottom line is you look at the options and you decide to take one. We're setting up for what we're doing with Mexico and that, but that's going to take a while. It's not just jump down there and just go do it and then see what happens, but a step at a time. But again, you know best for what you're doing, but just the individuals themselves are fine, unless they can afford it, unless they want to keep working and paying for that. I don't know if there's a continual cost or what the idea is, but again, you know the situations there, Charles. No, nothing is futile. That's not the idea. I didn't say that. I just suggested to, take it a step at a time and make it a little bit easier and not see people struggle. I would say that would be the first thing. People get together and look at what makes sense, not just chase an idea and pay for it. Then it's like, okay, what do we do next, etc. But you know best, Charles. Everything's fine.
Yeah, Duane, I'm glad you said that, because that has cleared the air and will give them some more impetus to continue with their fundraising activities to do this. In fact, they have started already making some contributions, and they will attain that goal. Yeah, and most of them have a disdain for the corporation, the type of way the corporation is monopolizing the space there and thinking that they are all and all and dishing out old stuff, and they are a danger to people without many knowing it. And the new friends there would really like a legal framework where they can operate. I remember when I was back in Cameroon, there was a situation where I had to defend the corporation. We didn't have the area where I was that I was controlling didn't have an authorization, but it had a national authorization to do activities. It was not even natural yet signed. It was in process, but we had already started. And when I had a confrontation with a priest, I went and told the secret services that the chief of service for commerce, because we're at a trade fair, that secret societies had been admitted to the trade fair, and so I had to undergo some grilling and all that. And when they saw that it was let me say in quotes, a harmful teaching, they allowed us to continue, and nothing further was said about our activities. They came to look at at what we were doing as some normal spiritual work, which was uplifting, even though everything has turned upside down. So we find that these new friends would like to take the bull by the horns, and they want to challenge the corporation. It's not actually a challenge, but want to make their presence felt. And when Biok consulted with me and expressed his view, was just in line with mine. And when I concurred, I said I would discuss it again with you. He was very happy that our views coalesced, and So they are going on with their contributions, and maybe they could have some external help too. Yeah, it's true that $800 and something is expensive, but they want to make it. They really want to. Yeah.
All right, Charles, let's do this. I'm going to write something up for you and send you in an email. And because you might say it's a new day, and what you're referring to there is really kind of the, you might say, the old structure. And it's a brand new day, and we're seeing things a little bit better. You notice the confrontations that you're dealing with. And so, yeah. And so because you're seeing what's out there, which I understand. Like right here, we have the same thing, okay? But I personally don't confront them. Some people do. They think that, they want to get into something and make it right or whatever. Everybody has this or that. It's not about that. We're all awareness here. And so I would say figure another way. Now, if I was there, I would investigate, if it were me, I would investigate the tribes. Again, do the tribes, need this legalized stuff? No. I would look for other avenues. And here's the idea, too. It's not about the new presentation. I had Kelsey make a new website. It's called newfoundation.club. And again, the word teaching, we are not a teaching. We have nothing to do with that. We are not spiritual. We have nothing to do with that. We're not political, religious, whatever. You might say, you got to be creative when you talk to these people. We're like naturalists, okay? We like the natural environment. That's our focus. And the new you is simply a song to nature, you might say. We can use that idea. That's it. You see how simple it is? So with that, we're not confronting or offending anybody. And we're not out to get the corporation. The corporation, I've given plenty of resources out there for the corporation to take a look at. They're not interested. Okay, so fine. Let them be. It doesn't matter about that. See, again, you see how this rivalry and this defensiveness starts to build up? I get it. It's natural. You might say it is. It's not natural, but it seems to be natural with the personal self. This is just how it is. And this is where you have to, every moment, relook at things, not just keep going down the same road. Oh, the Constitution says this, and the Constitution says that. Every day is that you want to repeat that with someone else, someone created, and just like what you're dealing with the government and that, hey, the birds, they're fine. Do they need to have a legalization or acknowledged? You see what happens when you're acknowledged in that way? I created the new presentation as a 501c3. I did that. But I want to get past that to where I don't need it. It's all nonsense. All these things are nonsense. Fortunately, all I have to do is an e-card every year with this silly stuff, But again, I would look for that because we're really into the trees and the tree belt thing and whatever. Just along those lines there, when I did the T-shirts, on the back of the T-shirt says "Walk with Rebazar," and I made Rebazar, which we all are, whatever we want to be, a historical naturalist, also universal surfer, etc. With the environment. And again, no teachings, no spiritual stuff. No higher or lowers or any of these things. See, just being real, and just being okay, and let everybody else do what they do. Let them go through those modes. But I would get together possibly with that Greenbelt organization where that lady got the Nobel Prize. I forget her name. Kelsey knows. That African lady. She's no longer around. But just become part of things like that and share the new you in a particular way. Now, the Kelsey has the website, newfoundation.club. We've made everything a club. So it's kind of like a fun thing. instead of a this or that, or a category with these other people that are dealing with things. And yeah, we're always going to deal with something, but trying to make it simpler all the time. So this is the new day. This is what it is. And from there, eventually, you can refer to the books or the courses or whatever, but, a step at a time. You have to see the world as it is realistically. We've tried so many things, and that is that it's a toughie, and this is a huge journey for people. They're stuck with religion, politics, spiritual things, science, okay, the craziness of science and all this stuff. They're basically stuck there, and for them to see the simplicity of things, do most people when they walk down the street notice the birds or hear the birds? No, they don't. They're on their cell phone. They're all into the tech stuff, etc. They're not paying attention. So I would say keep it very simple. That's what I would do. I would look for the simplest things, simply because it's not really the money. That's not the idea so much. But then again, I'm very frugal. Okay, not just spend money on things and then see now. Once you've joined them, once you've done this, because you've already done it, how many times do you have to do it? Once you've done it, you're at the mercy of what they dictate. You've signed up. You've agreed. You see, that's why they create these things. That's why they create these institutions, agencies, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, all this nonsense. They've created all this stuff, so you agree. And then if you don't agree, then you defy it. And then they still got your agreement, you see? So is it time for a better view, a simpler view? Again, look at nature. Yeah, they deal with what's here, but at the same time, they don't go looking for this. So I've gone through a whole lot here, but I'm not keeping up that same idea anymore. I'm seeing things very simple. As an example, I like the tree idea. That's the first step, and we'll see who shows up from whatever. I don't even have to tell people too much, because all of a sudden they'll discover who I am, and little by little they'll start to look, or they'll start to show up. You see, so in Africa, yeah, you have a lot there. We have a lot here too. We have cops that beat up everybody. We have Wi-Fi and whatever else. So, and you have your situations there. So I would keep it simple, but it's a new day, Charles. The new presentation and how I started off is not the same. It's not the same at all. But you got to see it, you see. And I would say, again, the bigger view is to keep it simple, like the sun shining. That's very simple. When we're here on Earth, things are very complex, and we have to deal with them. So we learn to simplify them. And I really like this. I recognize this right away. What I'm presenting is just my experiences, and we're all presenting our experiences. There's no teaching here. There's no doctrine. There's none of this stuff. There's no spiritual anything. There's no higher and lower. It's an isness. It's about, we're all free beings of light. I just wrote a group. Okay, not about me. And it's not, because I'm presenting the is. I'm just sharing what I have. And it's about awareness, really two basic things to identify with. Awareness and choice. We all have awareness and how we relate to each other, and we make a choice. That's really what it is. So I see that because of the conflict and everything that's in the world and the attitudes, and just like what Val went through with the college, and I went through that years ago myself, all this silly stuff. And no, so we're tippy-toeing in the next one a little more so, but keeping it simpler. And we're going to change the identity of it to get it so simple for people. And then they can take it a step at a time, because the world, the simplicity exists, but the world has become so complicated, it can't figure out simplicity. People want things simple, but actually they keep adding to the complexity and confusing themselves. This is the world today. Through all that, do you want to step into that complexity again? You've already dealt with it. You're already signed up. I would say look for another way, and by becoming part of something else, a tribe or another organization, that might be a softer touch at first. Get the experience and go from there and see what you can do. Again, that's just a suggestion. You decide. You know, it's your Africa. You decide.